So Ernest Holmes talks a lot about fear and faith. And so what he says, and this is in the 1938 edition of The Science of Mind, fear and faith are identical in that the energy used in the one is the same energy as that used in the other. Since there is but one final energy in the universe, and this final energy is the energy of thought. Fear is a positive acceptance that you shall experience that which you dislike. Faith is a positive acceptance that you shall experience that what you do like. But they are identical in this mental action. The only difference is the direction. There is an English proverb, fear knocked at the door. Faith answered. Nobody was there. And so Ernest Holmes also says, but what is fear? Nothing more or less than the negative use of faith. Faith misplaced. A belief in two powers instead of one. A belief that there can be a power opposed to God. And so I was thinking about that because we don't believe in duality, do we? We believe in one. And yet we experience things that seem counter. There's darkness, but the darkness isn't something different from light. The darkness is there because there's an absence of light. If we turned off all the lights in the theater, please don't do that. However, if we did, it would be dark in here. However, to create light, we just have to do the switch again, up. Isn't that interesting? Up for light, down for dark, unless your electrician has a sense of humor and hangs it upside. I know, I was thinking of you when I said it, Jim. Has a sense of humor and puts them in upside down. So that's faith and fear. That's love and hate. Hate doesn't exist except when there is an absence of love. And so I was thinking about this thing called fear, which we say false evidence appearing real. There's another one that isn't as kind that, believe it or not, Reverend Kathy Hearn taught us, and I can't say the first word, but the rest of it is everything and run. And that's when we allow fear to embody us. And yet I was thinking, like, why are we fearful? What does that look like? Because fear really is fight, flight, or freeze. And most of us nowadays really don't have to do any one of those three, right? Saber-toothed tigers are not coming after us that I'm aware of, right? Everything that we experience, most of it, there's some things that can happen to people that can be very fearful. However, most of our day-to-day lives, we are building our fear up here. And remember what Ernest Holmes said. I love that reading. I want to know which date it was. That as your word goes out, it will not be returned void. So remember, your thoughts are your words unspoken. And if God is over us, around us, through us, as us, those thoughts have as much impress into this energy that we live within as if you speak them out loud. So it's not only be mindful of your words, be mindful of what you're thinking. So I was playing with fear. What does that look like? What does that feel like? And it looks and feels like I can't do that. Really? Yes, you can. You can do anything you choose. I choose not to do that. But when you say I can't do that, that's usually fear talking. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. So fear comes up nowadays, doesn't it, as excuses. And the best way to overcome fear is to remember those times in your life that you succeeded, and you can really look back and think, wow, I did that? Really, I did that. And I don't know what the rest of what your all lives look like, but I'm going to give you a little taste of some of the things when I sat down and went, oh, I'm so fearful, I can't do this. And then I'm thinking, but you did that. How many people would do that? I remember dropping out of high school when I was a junior. I went to Mount Si High School. The whole school maybe had 600 people in it. My senior year, my brain started to function properly again, and I thought I'd better go back to high school. Instead of going back to Mount Si, I took all the tests that said I could be a senior. And then I went to Nathan Hale. Do you know how many kids are at Nathan Hale? Or back then, there's probably way more now. There were as many kids in my graduating class at Nathan Hale as there were in the entire school, Mount Si High School, which was a 4-year high school. And I was like, how did I do that? When I was 30, I decided I was tired of living in the state of Washington, so don't move to Oregon, move to New Jersey. Get promoted, move to New Jersey, work in Manhattan. That works, right? I can't do that if I'm fearful. So who is this person in me that keeps saying, oh no, you can't do that? Yes, I can. And so I want you to think about those times in your life where you absolutely were sure you couldn't do something and you did it anyway. Because if you do it once, you can do it again and again and again. There is that saying, and I think it's Ernest Holmes, it might be somebody else profound. If God answers one prayer, if you know one prayer that has been answered for one person, guess what? All prayers are answered. All prayers are answered. And if your prayer isn't answered, it's because your faith is misplaced. And so how do we get in that place of misplacing our faith, of deciding that we're going to lead with fear? How do we get there? What is it that overcomes us? And it's doubt, isn't it? It's that perpetual belief that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not... We have a litany of things that we tack onto ourselves, and it all starts up here. Has anybody, now maybe some of you will be able to raise your hand because some of you probably had parents that weren't loving, but seriously, has anybody recently said to you, you know what, don't do that, you're not good enough? No, I don't think so. Anybody said to you recently, oh, don't do that, you're too old, or you're too young, or you're too short, or you're too tall? Oh, I went short and then tall, isn't that interesting? Nobody has said those things to us, except for one person. One person and one person only. I say it to myself, and you stop yourself from being the most magnificent person on this planet that you've been called here to be out of fear, out of doubt, being separate from God. That's all fear is. You have separated yourself from the truth of who you are. And we all do it. Every single one of us does it at some time in our life, probably more than once. In 2007, I was unemployed. Paul was still working. However, we decided we were going to move to Santa Fe, New Mexico. We didn't know a soul. We went down there. Neither one of us had jobs. But we went because we were being pulled by vision. Was it scary? Maybe. But there was fun and excitement in it also. And I look at that and go, I didn't only move to Santa Fe in the middle of ministerial school. I started a center, built a community. You know, I've done these things in my life, and yet every once in a while I think, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. Who would buy a book by me? You know, all the little things. And so think about that. And so how do we displace fear? Well, there's faith, but how do we build our faith? And so I believe you have to be fit, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. It's not it sounds like a really tall word, doesn't it? And I don't know all about all the rest of you. I call it my little 4 legs, the table I sit on. My most wobbly leg to this day, even though it is so much stronger than the rest of the legs. My one leg that still kind of creaks on me is my financial. And that's for me to heal. So what does it look like to be fit physically? That's an individual decision, is it not? Do you want to be able to move with grace and ease in your life? Do you stand up tall? How many of you, I know that Christine did from California, because she watches online and she posted in Genesis Family. How many of you walked up with a book on your head this past week? You chickens. You chickens.
Forgot.
Huh?
Forgot.
You forgot. Right? That stand up tall. And it's not because slouching isn't fun, because it is. But when we stand up tall, what does that do? It allows us to breathe more deeply. It creates this flow up and down our spine, where all of our nerves are, evidently. And so to really be fit physically, choose what does that mean to you? Are you able to bend over and touch your toes? I don't know, do you want to? Maybe not bend over and touch your toes. However, I would like to bend down and pick something up and get back up without going, oh my God, help me, please, somebody. My biggest fear is I'm going to bend over sometime at home by myself and I won't be able to get back up. That, you know, the clapper thing, I'm not getting one of those. I'm telling you right now. Not going to do it. However, so I want to be physically fit because I think it's important, because here's the thing. Where does God live? In each one of us, right? This is the house that's been given in this life form. Now, it's a divine essence. It's compassionate. It loves us unconditionally, even when we don't take care of ourselves. And yet, why wouldn't I want this house to be clean, to be flexible, to be compassionate, to be loving? And all of that comes from me being physically fit. I don't know, you know, Bee's here today, and I don't know about her, but I look at pictures, and I'm sure she has said this to Barb, because I know Courtney has said it to Bernie. I have certainly said it to Paul. Why did you let me look like that? Like it was their responsibility. Why didn't you say to me, like, seriously? And here's the thing. People love you, they don't care. And I did not go on an eating program for anybody else. I went on an eating program for me because I wanted to feel good about me in my body. I wanted to know that I could move with grace and ease. That's all about me. And so it's all about you to decide. I can't tell you what to eat or not. I mean, I could, trust me. I love to tell people what to do. I'm not going to do it. It's up to you. You decide. How much food is too much? How much is not enough? How many times am I going to go to McDonald's or Burger King or whatever? How many times am I not? It's a matter of choice. It has nobody is making you do anything. It's a matter of choice. And so just think about that. To be physically fit, how would that be? I'm telling you, it feels good for me. I have had a Fitbit. You know, I'm a techie junkie. And so I have had a Fitbit probably since they first came out. My intention from the day I got my first Fitbit, and trust me, I've given 3 or 4 away to different people, was that I would walk 10,000 steps a day. 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, guess what I'm doing now? I'm walking 10,000 steps a day. Is it always easy? Oh, no. Have I gone into bed and climbed back out of bed and gone, oh, I have to go downstairs, I've got like 600 more steps I have to do? Yes. Finally, it is part of who I am, that I will do this for myself. Not for Fitbit, not for the people in my challenge. For me, I've decided I'm up in my game. I'm taking care of me. So that's the physical. The spiritual, to connect with that divine essence, regardless of what that divine essence looks like or means to you, to connect with something that is bigger than you are. And to spend time listening, reading, contemplating, being at one-ment. You know, Paul's dad is Catholic, and he goes to church once a week, religiously. Once a week. And it's kind of like a checkoff mark for him. I'm at church. God knows I'm at church. It's a big tablet up there that God has, checking people off that they went to church. But his response, if you ask him, is, I might be wrong. What if I'm not? And so your spiritual practice is about your belief. What works for you? I remember when I found this philosophy, and I knew immediately, this is where I belong. This is home. I felt it the first time I walked into Center for Spiritual Living East Side in Kirkland. I just knew. I didn't know a soul. And I knew this was my path out of my personal hell. And I just kept going. But it worked for me, and I do the practices. I spend time every day in meditation. Am I consistent? I wish I could stand here and say, I don't do anything before I meditate every single morning. Not true. But again, I don't say, oh, you know, I forgot to meditate yesterday, so I might as well never meditate again. I go back to it because it's important to listen. Remember, your body talks to you all the time. And if you believe, like we do here, that your soul lives forever and ever, and it is connected to that divine essence all around you, you can't hear what it's trying to tell you if you're chattering all the time. If you're moving at 100 miles an hour all the time. You can't hear your soul unless it hits you with a 2x4, and that is not pleasant. And so, some kind of spiritual practice, something that speaks to you. There are so many different things you can do. You can journal, you can meditate, you can sing. And meditation does not have to be sitting in one position, your legs crossed over, your fingers like this, going home. You can do a walking meditation. You can do a singing meditation. You can do a dancing meditation. Meditation is about being mindful. Do you know you can meditate while you wash your dishes? It's about being mindful, being present in the moment, feeling warm water on your hands. I don't know how many of us do different things in our life. We don't even know we're doing it. It's so automatic. So automatic. So get a practice that works for you, that works in your life. If you don't have 20 minutes to meditate, meditate for 5. If you don't want to do 3 pages of journaling, do a paragraph. just take time to really listen to your heart. Because when it starts to speak to you, it will roar. It's just waiting for you to be quiet for just a minute. Financially, being fit financially, what does that look like and feel like? I'm still working on that. I think the biggest thing is, oh, I really am talking to myself now. Don't spend more than you have. It's just really that simple. I'm not going to say that. I am a person, and most of you know this if I want, and my husband knows this because he counts the Amazon boxes that show up on my doorstep every single day. And I've always wanted to, Courtney always sends every Christmas that, or April Fool's Day, where the front porch is just full of Amazon packages. I've always wanted to do that to him, but he's getting up in age now, probably not a good idea. But, it's, if I have an addiction, an addiction that's still left, that is probably it. I see something, I want it, and I get it. And I really need to go, I see something, I want it, now wait. Just wait. It will be there 24 hours from now. I've never seen anything disappear off of Amazon in my life. So it will be there. Just wait. How necessary is it? I got a thing from Ticketmaster and I was so excited. Oh my God, concerts. Chris Isaac and Train, not together. But my first thing was, oh, I want tickets. And then I was like, no, wait. Because you never know. There might be somebody that you want to see that's going to sing more to your heart, although I love those two. And so it's a matter of just taking a breath for me. But to be fit financially, why do we do that? Why am I talking about this? Because if you have all four of your legs solid, you're in well-being. And if you're in well-being, guess what? Fear doesn't have such a big hold on you. You start to realize how powerful you really are. And so then the last one is emotional. How many of you have great friends in your life? How many of you are in touch with those great friends on a regular basis? Like, let's say daily even. Okay. Once a week? Okay, once a week. That's important. Fear will take over when we think we're doing something alone. Have you ever sat with a friend and you go, oh, I can't do that, and they're like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Of course you can. And so surround yourself with people who look at you and what they see is your power and your presence. Because when they see that in you, you are seeing that in them. We are a reflection of each other. And so to really know that you're surrounded with people that love you so much that if you were really going to get into a train wreck, they'd be the first ones to tell you. How many of you have friends like that? I hope you all do. You need somebody that's going to tap you on the shoulder and go, that idea sucks. Now you don't want somebody who's going to step on your vision of your life. And so there's that juxtaposition. Is that the right word? I don't think so. I can't think of the word. But there is that place that you have to be careful of your vision and what is just crazy making. Because I can do both. I don't know about you guys. I can do both. I can have a vision and I can do crazy making. And fortunately, I surround myself with people that know the difference. They're like, that is fabulous, Gail. You absolutely should do that. No. Come on back. We all need that touchstone in our life. Because fear is faith misplaced. Faith doesn't go anywhere. It's the essence and the truth of who you are. And yet we start to let the world around us mess with us and start to convince us that we can't, or we won't, or we shouldn't, or we couldn't. And you can and you will, if you just have faith. Because every single one of you have to remember, is God informed. You're not a mistake. You're not a bad idea. You are that power and that presence. And you need to own that. And so I want to take a little bit of a time out here, because I want to talk about two people who I personally adore, and I know all of you do too. And some of the hardest days that I have had as a minister is when somebody who has supported me and loved me and been there for me moves away. And so I met B and Barb 5 years ago, was when I candidated. And they couldn't, Barb was on the board, B was a practitioner. They were supposed to come to 2 separate meetings evidently. They had something to do in Portland. And so they came to the board meeting. And I immediately adored them both. And over this past 5 years, I have watched the two of them blossom even more than when I first met them. Now, has it always been easy? Was it that jet ride right up to the top of the mountain? Oh no, they took lefts and rights, and they went around the mountain a couple times looking for a better road. And yet they had this vision of their life. See, they had 2 homes. They had one here in Tacoma, and they have one in Portland. I kept hoping they'd sell the one in Portland. However, in case you didn't know it, they're Oregonians by birth. In fact, they're Beaver fans, for God's sake. I know. And so it wasn't the home in Portland they chose to sell. Now, not only have they sold their house in Tacoma, but the thing is, they have built in Portland what they lovingly call their compound. They have 2 daughters that now live close to them within this residential area, like within walking distance. Barb's mom and dad just moved in. Literally, they're in the compound now. It's a family. And so as much as it breaks my heart that I probably am not going to see them as often as I have in the past, I love how God works, because as things have been happening in their life, I got to see them less and less on a regular basis. And so it makes today a little easier. Not much, but a little. So B and Barb, if you could come up here, I have a personal gift I want to give you. I don't know if the 2 of you watched last week. The Board of Trustees gave me a Tree of Life 2 weeks ago, I guess, as a gift for my 5-year anniversary as the minister here at Genesis. And I thought, what a fabulous gift to give people a Tree of Life, to know that you'll always be, both of you, the roots of Genesis. You have done so much for this community. And most people know how much. Not just, I will tell you that one of the things that they did at a time when Genesis needed them the most was they made a financial contribution of a large amount that is still in a CD that we're going to keep there. And we're gonna call a wing of the building the bee and barb wing. I'm probably hanging this upside down. Here we go, I think. I don't know. There we go, yes. So, you have been our roots. You have dropped your seeds in this community. You've watered them. You've helped us grow. I love you both beyond measure, and I will be in Portland more than you're going to want me to share. So, I just want all right, let's pray. Now, Mother, Father, God, Spirit within me, within all things, all people, everywhere. There is that light that shines within each and every one of it. It's that light within me. It's that light that RB and Barb. It's that light that is Karen today and the band and everybody else that volunteers. It's that light that is within all of you that are just here to receive, to be part of this loving, compassionate community. Whether you are here in the physical form or whether you are watching on Facebook, it doesn't matter. You are that light. And so I know that that light shines brightly, and when it does, darkness has a hard time. Not that we don't need and appreciate darkness. I couldn't sleep without it. And yet I will not let it overtake my life. It has its purpose, I let it serve. But like that light, I know that that love that is God is me. That all it ever has been, all it ever will be, and all it is right here and right now exists as us. And so to be in that place of connection and knowing. When fear knocks on your door, let faith answer. And fear has no place. Be the things that you want to see in the world. If you want more love in the world, be that presence of love. If you want more community in the world, be a place where community feels good and is right. No one, no thing is ever against you. No one and no thing is ever holding you back. Fill yourself up. Allow yourself in this time, in this place, to know emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, you've got this. Because God lives within you and God's got this. So stand in that and know that and be that. That is what I know for myself. That is what I know for all people everywhere. We are at choice and we choose to be the light. We choose to be the love. We choose to have faith that is so deep and so strong that it never falters. It never moves from that place of holy ground. From the soles of our feet to the top of our heads, we are filled up with that light and that love and that faith. So knowing this, I just say thank you. Thank you for this time, for this space, for this way of being in the world. Thank you for the courage and the strength to know that I am one with it and all of you. I release all of these words knowing that as it is spoken, it is done. God has said yes because that is what God does. Ascended masters, angels, all living, breathing organisms in that one, still there, nodding and saying yes to each one of us. So with that, I let go, I let God, and together we say, it is so. Namaste. Thank you all. Please welcome back to the stage, Catch the Spirit.
I give peace and I let go. Let the Spirit from my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
I Release, I Let Go, and yeah, both of them. When you get stuck, sing those songs. It'll make you feel really connected to the truth of who you are, because remember, you are more than a name, you are God-informed, so go out there and prove it to yourself first, then to the world.